Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of The Cali Effect. Today, we're going to be talking about why Yu-Gi-Oh! Will last forever! Well, at least for a very long time, if not forever. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is structured very well, but before we can even get into that, let's talk about its distributor, Konami itself. Konami, once a mighty empire of amazing games, only supports Metal Gear Solid. I mean, that's the only game I know of, at least. Silent Hill is no longer a part of Konami, and they delisted themselves from the New York Stock Exchange, leaving people going crazy about Konami in itself, wondering, why is Konami doing this to us? Why is Konami dying? Well, while I can't explain Silent Hill, I can explain the New York Stock Exchange. Konami is only appointed for 0.03 of their stock exchange inside of, the New York Stock Exchange. Most of their stock exchanges occur in London and Japan. I'm going to say Japan just for safe. I think it's Tokyo. Which, on top of that, Konami receives a $5 million annual cap hit for being in the New York Stock Exchange. It would only be a smart move for Konami to delist itself. It's not profitable. It's not getting them much. Now, back to Silent Hill, that's just a totally different story. You might want to go to a gamer channel for that. When we look at that marketing strategy, we can see that Konami is actually a really smart company. Their stock has went up ever since delisting themselves. How does this really put us into perspective about Konami? Well, if as much as you guys didn't know, Konami doesn't call the shots and doesn't run the show when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. It's actually Kazuki Takahashi who is still the owner. He just licenses the rights to Konami, still runs the show. And it's interesting how he said what Konami couldn't do, and that made a giant effect on how we play Yu-Gi-Oh! And why we've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For so long. When Kazuki Takahashi and Konami came into a pact or a license agreement to distribute Yu-Gi-Oh!, he made some pretty interesting demands, and we're going to be talking about them now. His first demand is that he did not want gambling in Yu-Gi-Oh! Something that older people actually want, that play card games such as Magic and their 25,000 plus championship, they get a lot of money for winning in Magic. Now, this had to make Konami think out of the box, whereas you can see other card games that don't have this type of money prize support tend not to stay around for very long. Well, this is the magic of doing it. Konami was pretty positive that it could bring Yu-Gi-Oh! To America to attract a different breed of card players. The card players that you guys see playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. There's something that we all have in common, well, for the most part. When Yu-Gi-Oh! Debuted in around 2000, we were all about 8. The exact perfect age that you want to get a kid hooked onto anything. If you follow a pattern, when a kid gets hooked onto something, as he grows up, he tends to play it a lot more often. And as he becomes an adult, he actually invests his money and time into it. Hint, hint, Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon? Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is part of that trinity too. I mean, come on. You name me one 90s kid that doesn't like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, or Pokemon. One of the three. Don't worry, I'll wait. And don't name your sister. This had a trickling effect to how we play Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Yu-Gi-Oh! Players around us. As we all grew older and we started to learn how to play the game effectively, and we also started investing into cards, Konami was allowed to do a lot of things that they could get away with. But the most important thing was way, way, way back in the day with censorship. As you should know, America, and Europe and Japan have different things that they censor. Which in Japan, they censor more violence. America, they censor just about everything, because that's the American way. Cards like Dying Keto, Tremendous Fire, Harpy Lady, Soul Release were all censored for either religion or nudity. That's how Konami was able to keep it more of a kid-friendly game and also keep our parents to buying these cards. Because, I mean, come on, who wants their kid to buy a Satan deck? Lastly, the thing that keeps Konami profitable is the secondary market. Now, I know Konami doesn't sell cards individually, so they technically don't make any money off the secondary market. But you have to remember, the secondary market cards have to come from somewhere. Gee, I wonder where they come from. Let's take, for example, Yuki Usagi. I'm not going to call it by its other name. It's retarded. it got promoted to a secret rare inside of the new Cross Soul set. Now, if Konami would have made it a common, that would have been a portion of people that would want the box less. But since it's a secret, people have to buy more of the box to obtain the card. Now, I know Yuki Usagi is a $93 card pre-order, so think about it. Let's say 100 people buy this Yuki Usagi card. That means that that supplier has to get at least 100 boxes just to give out the Yuki Usagi. Now think about how much profit that Konami would be making off of that one card. And that's not speaking of the other 70 cards in the set. Another thing that keeps Konami profitable is the ban list. As much as we would hate to say it, the ban list is a very profitable machine. Allowing Konami to ban older strategies and then make new strategies on the fly forces players to keep buying these boxes. Now Konami has definitely slowed down and revised its strategy to make it a little less harsh on your money, but still, it's the same type of recycle system that Konami uses. Ultimately, one must remember, Konami does not control Yu-Gi-Oh! Kazuki Takahashi does. He still holds 4 licensor rights and can snatch it away from Konami at a breacher contract, which is the reason why you kids that complaining do not get cash tournaments. You guys do not get certain things like Magi Girl to the TCG, all because of one person. This definitely has an impact on the game, but if Konami were to stop doing Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'm pretty sure somebody else would license with Kazuki Takahashi. But that raises even a more important question. Hold on, let me hit the blunt. So,
does Kazuki Takahashi play Yu-Gi-Oh?
My nigga.